Hey guys, welcome back to this brand new video. In this, we'll be talking about this is not a brand new video, it is an old video, which I should have completed earlier. I couldn't. Anyway, we'll talk about initialize states, the state hook, whatever this is, we'll figure it out. So it says it takes 8 minutes, let's see how long it takes. Like how you use the state hook to manage a variable with string values. We can use the state hook to manage the value of any primitive data type and even data collections like arrays and objects. Okay. Here have a look at the following function component. Following. What does this state variable hold? Let's have a look. So we have use state being imported. This is the default import. This is a specific import from React. Function toggle loading. We have created two variables. This is a function, this is the variable. Set loading helps us sets the loading. Okay, return div, the data is loading. If it is true, is loading is true, then loading. If it is not true, then not loading. Means if this thing is false, then not loading will be shown, and if this thing is true, loading will be shown. Button, set loading to true, turn loading on. So when we click on this button, we set the loading to on. There's like event handler, on click event handler, and when this event is initiated, we set the set loading state to true. But when you click on it, loading is set off. Since these are we have used, oh god, what happened to my, since we have used use state, so that thing will be shown in real time on the screen. Okay. The toggle function component above uses the simplest of all data types, a boolean that's true and false. On click, this happens. Oh, by the way, what toggle? This is a function, toggle loading function. Okay, let me just see the structures. Inside a function, we have created loading states. Then we have a return value, something. Which have a div, which has paragraphs, which has specific data to return. All the data reflection will be done in the paragraph tag. These are there is a button, turn on, turn it off. The toggle loading function component above uses the simplest of all data types, Boolean. Booleans are frequently used in React application to represent whether data has loaded or not. In this example, you see true and false values are passed to the state setter, set loading. This code works just fine as is, but if you want our component to start off with loading is set true to initialize. So basically, here there is loading. Here we should have defined it right here, but it's nothing is defined here. So we need to have a default value. Let's say we want the default value to be loading. So we can just set it here as true. I think that's what will be taught here. So to initialize our state with any value we want, we simply pass the initial value as an argument to the useState function call. Here only, when we define these is loading and set is loading, then we can define it here as true itself. Here, initially it was nothing there, right? There is no true there. There's no defined value. We define it as true. So there are three ways in which the code affects our component. During the first render, the initial state argument is used. Initial state argument is true. When the state setter is called, React ignores the initial state argument and uses the new value. So if you click on a toggle to set it to be true, so this nothing changes, but if you set it to be false, then initial value is ignored. When the component re-renders for any other reason, React continues to use the same value from the previous render. If the components re-render for any other reason, React continues to use the same value from the previous render. So, as previous render, yes. If you don't pass any initial value when calling, oh God, what happened? Yeah. uh, when calling the use state, the current value of the state during the first render will be undefined, as I told you. Often this is perfectly fine for computers running the code, but it can be unclear to humans reading our code. So we want preferably explicitly initialize our state if we do not have the value needed during the first render. We can explicitly pass the null instead of passively leaving it as undefined. So here, we'll just simply set null. Okay, let's do some workout. Professional web development team is a development is a team sport. Thankfully, a coworker was able to help refactor the code from the color picker component to support more colors. Now our product owner wants to apply to start off the color tomato. Okay, now our product owner wants the app to start off with the default color tomato when it was shown up on the screen. So modify the current color picker component to initialize the state of the tomato selector color. Okay, so we have color names, an array. So we have use state, we have color. So you can straight up select um, what I think here. There's two way to do it, I guess. Tomato. Okay, let's pass in tomato, I guess, then run. Okay, it was running. But do we have tomato? We don't have tomato. So instead of that, let's do one thing. I mean, let's say two. One, two, three. I mean, why not zero? No, it would be confusing, I guess. Uh, Misty Rose. Zero, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. Let's do eight here. Let's see what happens. Look, we do Misty Rose. Yeah, so that's all about it. Okay, initial state value. It was not that hard. It was easy. So next thing we'd be doing is use state setter outside of JSX. Whatever it is, sounds interesting to me. We'll be doing that later.